All right, man. Hey, welcome to the Black Spinner Circle podcast. With me, Al Horta, my co-host Andy Rodriguez below me there. What's up, Andy? How are you, brother?
What's going on, Al? Doing all right, man. Just very excited for the show. We weren't supposed to do it last week, but we weren't able to do it. So this list has been sitting around for 2 weeks. It's ready to fall upon us.
Yeah, man. We had a little scheduling conflict last week, so we postponed it to this week. And it kind of worked out good, man, because then my buddy Joseph Staub down there was able to join in this week. He wouldn't have been able to do it last week, so I think it would have been just a trio of me, you, and Jerry. So, Jerry, how you doing, brother? Over there,
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, of course, bro. All the time, man. You're always welcome. And then Joe Staub. What's up, Joe?
Doing good. Really excited. Between this show tonight and then tomorrow night on BS and then next week on BS, we got some really interesting topics going. I'm really excited for some of these topics.
Yeah,
man. I came up with this topic. By the way, I'm not in my usual haunt. I'm filming on location. I'm away for work for the week, so I'm down here in Clewiston, Florida, which is Lake Okeechobee.
Yeah, I've been Clewiston many times.
Yeah, so the 70s panel on the wall, you know.
Yeah.
I was about to say, Al's in an undisclosed location today.
Undisclosed, yeah. I came up with this topic, being that it was in April. I wanted to come up with like kind of April showers. So I wanted to come up with a topic, songs that have to do with rain or water or anything to do with wetness or like that. So I thought it was kind of a cool little concept. So glad you guys could come in on this, and top 10 plus 5 honorable mentions. And we're going to do the what's spinning. I don't know if you guys want to do it or not. You want to do it, Andy?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Oh.
So, Jerry, you know, if you got something you want, or if you want me to skip you.
Let's skip him for now.
I'm sure he's going to go grab some, but it's something that we've been listening to during the week or whatever. So, just kind of showcase an album, you know, any format that you've been listening to, streaming, you know, album, cassette, whatever. We'll start with you, Joe, if you want to go ahead. We'll come back to Jerry. Unless Jerry's ready to go.
Alrighty.
I'm ready.
All right, so Jerry, man, what have you been spinning during the week?
Fucking this Steve Vai album, man. I remember wearing this out when I first got it in '90, man. I mean, I literally wore the cassette out. I've been listening to it a lot lately again. Man, I forgot what a great album this was, man. He was on fire here, man. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know it. You know what's on it. And it's just brilliant guitar work from an amazing guitar player, man. So that's basically what I've been listening to.
Cool.
It's weird because I've got that on CD as well. I've never heard it.
Really? Oh, man.
I've never heard it. I've got it right here. I'm right there in the cases. So I'll probably
Which album was that one again? By
Passion and Warfare.
Oh, Passion and Warfare. Oh, yeah, man. That was in 1990, I think, right?
1990, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that when I was graduating high school.
Yeah, me too.
And I remember what was the song, the single? The Audience Is Listening, I think. I think that was the video and the single from it. Yeah, it was pretty popular, man.
Yeah. They had a video for that? I remember a video for that.
Yeah, there was a video. It was like a classroom, like a school. I think him like as a young kid or something. If I remember correctly, I think that was the video. So
yeah, maybe I looked it up.
Yeah, great album, man.
Yeah.
I need to revisit that one. I haven't heard that one in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either. That's why I found it as I was sorting out my CDs again. I was like, man, I forgot how great this was. I remember, like I said, I remember just wearing it out when I got it on cassette and when I was younger. So still holds up nowadays too, which is a great.
Pretty sure it does.
Yeah. All right, cool, man. Joe, what do you got?
All right. Well, folks, I hate to report this to you, but it happened to me again. If you follow this show for any length of time, you'll know that over the past few months, I've fallen into a sad state of going insane and purchasing a bunch of bands' entire discographies on CD to do deep dives on them. And it happened again. And this is a band that I don't know why I've never done a deep dive into. I've had one of their greatest hit CDs. My dad's had it since I was a kid. I know a bunch of their songs, but I never really knew much about the band or like what their discography was like. I knew they had like one album from their early career that was pretty popular, and then they had some hits in the 80s that I knew, but I never really looked into their entire discography until I was at the record store about 2 weeks ago, and I saw the CD of the album from their early days that I knew, and I never listened to the whole album or anything, so I picked it up, and I'm like, I'll check it out, see what it's like. And I loved the album so much that I went back and did what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Moody Blues.
Oh, okay.
Days of Future
you did
Past.
mention that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went and bought the whole discography.
Oh,
And
wow.
I'm absolutely loving it. And
Yeah.
I have no clue why I've never done this before with them, because I've always known Knights in White Satin, and then I knew a bunch of like the stuff from the early 80s. I knew The Void and Wildest Dreams and all that stuff. But I never really looked into like what people call the classic 7 albums of Days of Future Past on in the mid 70s. And I don't know why I never did. But it's just been a really, really great experience listening to all these albums so far. And what I love about these albums is that like they all play like an album. They all play like straight through. All the tracks kind of blend together. And what I love is I even got their first greatest hits. This is the Moody Blues, and they pull stuff from all those albums. It's a double disc set, and they even do the same thing on this, where songs from different albums they blend them together and let it play through like a full album that way, and you get a different listening experience that way, because it's all these songs that are from different albums, but they piece them together like a new album, and it's just a really cool experience. I really, really loved listening to these albums so far, so I've been on a huge Moody Blues kick. So that's what I've been listening to is all these great new CDs I got in the mail from the Moody Blues. I'm still waiting on one more to come. I think tomorrow or the next day. I think it's Every Good Boy Deserves Favor is the only one I haven't gotten in the mail yet. I have all the rest of them from Days of Future Past through Seventh Sojourn, but that's the only one I'm still waiting on.
See, I was like you before you got into them. I knew Knights of White Satin and Wildest Dreams, but that's about it. So maybe I need to take a look at them, like you did.
Oh, they got
they're all over the place, but in a really good way.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, Al had mentioned them probably about a couple months ago. And I say a couple months ago because after he had mentioned them, I pulled out all of my Moody Blues, and they're sitting right here next to me. I just haven't put them in there, like the Seventh Sojourn and Question of the Balance.
Yeah.
And In Search of the Last Chord. So I've got all these right here next to me, and it's so funny you say that because I've been wanting to get into it, but other things have just been jumping in front of it. So a very rewarding band to get into. It really is.
Mm-hmm. I love how each album kind of has its own different feel to it, because Days of Future Past is symphonic and it has all those kind of elements, and then Lost Chord is like very psychedelic, and then go on. Each album kind of has its own thing to it, and Question of Balance is kind of stripped back a little bit, and each kind of thing has its own feel to it. And I really enjoy each album. Kind of has its own identity, but it's still very much the same band throughout.
Yeah. It's a very rewarding band to get into. You're really going to enjoy it once you really get into it. Speaking of doing deep dives, I'm doing a deep dive into a band that I've only knew about their radio hits, and I was talking to Mark Alden Taylor the other day, and I was thinking, you know what, maybe I should do a deep dive into REO Speedwagon. So I had Tuna Fish, and then I had High Fidelity, but then I went ahead and started from the beginning. I've been streaming their first album, REO Speedwagon, with a different singer, and my God, that album blew me away. I absolutely love it. The guitar work on there is just amazing, and these songs are being stretched out to 6 or 7 minutes of guitar and organ, and the songs just blend together so well. So I finally got off of that and got into RO 2, which I've been listening to for a couple of days because I wanted to keep on streaming their debut album because I loved it so much. So I've been on an REO Speedwagon kick as of late, which is something that I haven't really done. I just knew their hits, their radio hits from the '80s, and of course, "Time for Me to Fly" and those hits that came out in the late '70s. But
Yeah.
getting into this music by them is so different from what I perceived them to be. So I'm having a good time getting into that.
Yeah, Gary
definitely-
Richrath. Gary Richrath is an underrated guitarist, man. That
Oh,
guy was
yeah.
amazing. And I like Terry Luttrell? Is that his name?
Yeah, Terry Luttrell.
The original singer, but I mean, REO is Kevin Cronin, though. I mean, sorry. I mean, he was good. I liked his first couple albums, but man, Cronin took him over the top, in my opinion.
Oh well, yeah, they did. But
Well, he's on
where
the Kevin Cronin's on the second album.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought
No,
Luttrell did one album.
Luttrell
Okay.
only did the first one, and
The original
Luttrell did the
original
first
writers,
one.
Yeah.
and then
The original
Kevin
writing
Cronin
of
came in
Storm
on the
out.
second
Yeah,
one,
Gotcha.
and then the next couple was with a different singer, and then Kevin Cronin came back.
Yeah.
Because Riding the Storm Out was without him.
Right.
But Andy, this box is a really good box at it's the early years.
Yeah.
It has all those early albums on it, all the way up
Okay.
through the live album. It's a really, really. It has bonus tracks and stuff, and has a big booklet and everything. It's
Oh,
a
cool.
really, really. It has all the stuff. It has the first album and REO 2, and then all the ones that Kevin Cronin's not on, and then up through to the Cow album and then the live album, and then they have one later with all the the hit albums too.
Okay.
But it's definitely a really cool discography to dig into.
All right. Because I've also got on cassette of the decade of 70 to 80s greatest hits, which I've had for a
Mhm.
while, but my cassette's not playing that well. I gotta get the old pen and fix it up and see if I can.
Yeah, that's a great compilation because it has some rare live stuff on there too. That's not on any of their other albums. That's a really good compilation.
Yeah. So so that's what I've been listening to lately. Is that right there?
Cool.
All right, Al. What have you been listening to?
Yeah, man. So Sunday, I sat down and I lay down in bed at night and I turned on Billy Joel's 100th show at the Garden, and I heard something that CBS cut off Piano Man at the end. I don't know. I was watching it on Paramount Plus, but I didn't make it to the end. I kind of fell asleep then before the end, so I don't know. I don't think I got cut off on there. I believe, I don't know, because it was Paramount Plus. So, but anyway, so ever since watching that, I've been kind of on a Billy Joel kick. So, being that I'm down here and I don't really have access to a CD player or anything, I just been streaming a bunch of just Billy Joel on my phone, and listening to my earbuds, and I mean the guy is just a friggin'. He's just a hit making machine, man.
Yes.
So many songs. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
I went to quite a few of those Garden Run shows, and you just always leave there satisfied. You heard so many, songs that and he doesn't just he'll go into album tracks too. I love how he mixes things up, and he'll talk between songs and be like, oh well, this was not a single, this is an album track, and sometimes he'll even give the audience choices between two songs. Would you rather hear this or this? And depending on the audience reaction, he'll choose a song. So I've been kind of on a Billy Joel kick. I mean, me growing up in New Jersey, I mean, he was a staple on the radio.
Of course.
I mean, he's one of the earliest guys I heard on the radio as a little kid, man. I remember hearing, Piano Man and The Entertainer and all his great stuff. I mean, admittedly, I love the 70s output the best, but I mean, he had some good songs in the 80s still. The doo-wop Billy Joel, I could kind of do without, but that's neither here or there. I mean, he delved into a lot of different genres, so it was great. But yeah, I've just been streaming a bunch of Billy Joel. No particular album, just kind of going back and forth between different things. So just a mix. So that's really what I've been listening to the last couple of days, ever since Sunday, the 100th, the video that he showed of the 100th Madison Square Garden show. I think that he's ending his run on that, and that's it. I mean, I'm sure he's probably going to go back there and play again eventually, but every month it was just every month he would play there once a month, and I can't believe it's been, I guess, 10 years he's been doing this now. So, you know.
So how many times were you able to see him there?
I saw him at the Garden, I think, well, before he started that consecutive run at the Garden, he did do like 12 nights at the Garden, going back like probably 15 years ago. He did, he did 12 nights in a row. Well, I think, it was like 12 shows at the Garden. He set up a residency there, and he played there for like 2 weeks. And I caught one of those shows. But then when he started the official Garden run, like once every month, I think I caught him 4 times there. Okay. And I remember one of the shows I got to see him in I had second row tickets, man. And that was awesome. I got like the set list, guitar pick. I got like a bunch of shit. So it was really cool seeing him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, every show's been different. One of my favorite ones was around in December, like it was around the holidays, and he kind of made it like a little holiday theme thing, you know. He would between songs he would do like little Christmas things and stuff. So that was like one of my favorites. It was great. So that's what I've been streaming, man. That's what I got. Billy Joel, classic.
Awesome.
And with that,
so we're all kind of reminiscing of past stuff. That's kind of cool, you know, like older stuff. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Older stuff that's kind of new to me, because all that REO Speedwagon was all new to me.
Right.
I had no idea.
It's awesome to discover an old band like, you know, they never listened to, and you know, with Joe too, with Moody Blues. I mean, I seen the Moody Blues live once, and they were great. And you know, they call them kind of like pioneers in like progressive rock, because they kind of started that whole kind of conceptual and using like orchestration on the albums and things like that. I mean, I know the Beatles did it, but then Moody Blues really started like taking that to a whole other level, and really they were kind of a precursor to like the whole progressive rock thing, you know.
Well, the Moody Blues were they were the ones who showed the Beatles what a Mellotron was.
There you go. Yeah. So
they were good friends with the Beatles, and they were kind of
So Moody Blues, I saw them live once, and I saw Justin Hayward live as well, like a couple, only like maybe a year or two ago. He was touring with Christopher Cross, which was kind of a cool like double bill. So I got some yacht rock, I got a little, you know, Justin Hayward, you know, so it was cool. Anyway, on to the topic at hand. If anybody else has to add anything, we're good.
I'm good.
You're good.
All right, man. So the topic at hand, top 10 songs have to do with rain, precipitation, water, whatever you want to do. Top 10, 5 honorables. We'll start off with Jerry, man. What's your 10?
Well, I hope this qualifies. It does have something related with water in the title.
Yeah, no, it's fine, man. I specifically said it can have anything to do with like water, wetness, rain, whatever. For me personally, all my songs have rain in it. I just went that route for some reason.
Gotcha.
Because there's just a lot of songs with rain now, like so. But you can do whatever you want, man. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I've got one of the most underrated gems on Physical Graffiti, Down by the Seaside.
Oh, nice.
Fucking love that song. I just love the flow of it. I love that. I don't know what he's using, a Leslie effect or something on the guitar. I love the sound of it. And I love the electric piano in it.
Cabinet, yeah.
But man, it's just an incredible underrated tune. I love Plant's voice in it. I mean, it's just an amazing tune, of course, off an amazing album. Of course, you know, they're my favorite band, so I had to have a couple of their songs on here. But that's how I'm going to start off with Down by the Seaside off Physical Graffiti.
Man, that's one of my favorite standout tracks on that album. I love Down by the Seaside.
I love that song as well, man.
Yeah.
So different from everything else on there, you know?
Yep. That's what I liked about Physical Graffiti, because I think it was like a culmination of all 5 of the first 5 albums. Actually, I think this song was supposed to be on Zeppelin 4. I think it's one of the songs they originally going to put on there. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think it's true. But yeah, I mean, an amazing tune, man.
Awesome. All right, Joe, man, you're number 10.
Alrighty, so my number 10 is a beautiful ballad off of Savage's Gutter Ballet, Summer's Rain. Beautiful, beautiful song. There was a couple different Savatage songs I could have chosen. One of them is one of my honorable mentions. But I wanted to go with this one because I think this is kind of an underrated track. You don't hear a lot of people talk about that one, especially off this album. I mean, people always go to really a lot of stuff on the first half of the album more. But Summer's Rain, really, really great track. My number 10.
Cool.
What year did Gutter Ballet come out?
89.
Yeah, all right. I remember, yeah, no. I didn't get into Savatage until later in the game. Like I remember hearing about them in the 80s and everything when I was going through high school, and and it wasn't really till like the 90s when I really started getting into like prog metal and stuff like that. And I started listening to them a bit, and they're talented band. I mean, I'm obviously morphed into TSO, but I heard, aren't they coming out with a new album now or something? Isn't there like something?
Supposedly, yeah. They're supposedly doing like one last album with the late 90s lineup that became TSO. So like with Chris Caffrey and Al Pitrelli and Jeff Plate and Hamilton. And I think they even said that their original drummer, Steve Wacholtz, is going to be playing some stuff on it. And he hasn't played anything with them since right after this. And so it's kind of like their kind of big farewell album. And I think from what I heard, that if John Oliva is up to it, they're going to do a tour.
I'd love to go see that, man.
Yeah, I just once I want to see those songs played live. I love when TSO throws in some Savatage stuff. But I'd love to see all those guys on stage because with TSO splitting up the lineups and stuff, you never get to see all those guys at the same time. So I'd love to see I'd love to see Chris and Al and Jeff and Johnny all on stage together with John Oliva.
Yeah, it'd be cool, man. Hope they do it. So
yeah.
All right, Andy, my brother, man, number 10.
I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off with Queensryche off of Empire. Another Rainy Night. That's one of my favorite songs off of Empire, and in fact, Empire is my favorite album by
great song,
Queensryche, and that's such a great song. It was a big hit on the radio, so that's why I'm going to start off at number 10. Queensryche, Another Rainy Night.
That was on my long list. But
same.
Great song, man.
Yep.
I like it.
All right, my number 10, I'm going to go with Soundgarden, Black Rain. This was released, I think, on a compilation that they put out when they reunited and they started touring again and stuff like that. And I always loved this song, man. Chris Cornell just sings his ass off on this one. I don't remember what sessions this song was from. I don't know if it was a brand new song written for the compilation or it might have been a leftover from like another album or something. I don't have the liner notes in front of me or anything, but I love the song, man. I remember getting the compilation because I had a couple new songs on it, and that was one of them. And it was getting airplay on the radio too in New Jersey, like some local radio station there. So yeah, man. I mean, it's just kind of harkened back to the Bad Motorfinger days, like with the sound and everything, which I loved. So
that's when it was recorded.
Okay.
I just looked it up. Yeah. They said it was mostly recorded during Bad Motorfinger, and then they touched it up a little bit in 2010.
Yeah, which makes sense because it does sound like it would have belonged on an album, which is my favorite Soundgarden album as well. So, I mean, that was right up my alley. So yeah, but the number 10 is gonna be Soundgarden, Black Rain. So we'll go number 9, Jerry.
Yeah, this is a band. This is a band I get laughed at a lot for liking. So you guys can laugh at me if you want. But I've always liked this band. I thought they were cool in the 80s. I'm talking about the Eurythmics. Here Comes the Rain Again. I love that freaking song.
That.
Dude, there's nothing wrong with the Eurythmics.
Love that song.
I love Dave. I love Annie. I think they're a fucking amazing duo, man. I mean, they made it to the Hall of Fame a couple years ago. That was a fun. It was cool to see them actually perform together again. I just always had a spot in my heart for the Eurythmics, man. I mean, they really have, man.
They're a good band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, Annie Lennox, holy shit, what a singer, dude.
Yeah.
Even her solo album, I think it was called Why, or was that the single off it?
That was the single off the album. Why?
Yeah, but man, her vocals on that are just amazing, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
of course, we know
they
David
are.
Stewart, he's helped a lot of people, Tom Petty, help me out, guys. He's probably done songs for
He's done a lot of production, man.
But yeah, I mean, I mentioned I like the Eurythmics a lot, and they're like, "What? You like that? Shit's weak, man." I'm like, "Bullshit, dude. The Eurythmics rule, man."
Yeah.
What I really liked about the Eurythmics back in the 80s was that they were different from anything else that was on the radio, and they made it on pop radio, and they were hit makers, and they were completely different from anybody else. I love that duo of Lennox and Stewart. It was a really great match.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
Kind of unusual pairing, I think, but it worked. You know what I mean? It's
Very unusual.
really did.
They didn't look like they matched, but when it comes to music, they sure did make fireworks together.
I agree. But anyway, that's
Cool.
my number 9.
Cool, man. All right, Joe, go ahead, man. Number 9.
Alrighty, another band that I could have chosen a couple different songs for, and that is Creedence Clearwater Revival, and I'm going to go with "Who Will Stop the Rain." I could have gone with "Have You Ever Seen the Rain?" That's on my honorable mentions, but of the two, I think "Who Will Stop the Rain" is a better song. I love that song. Fogerty's vocals on that are some of his best, honestly, in my opinion. Some of those notes he's hitting, I think it's a really, really great track. One of my favorite CCR songs, probably. But yeah, so that's my number 9 is "Who Will Stop the Rain." The harmonies on there are really great. I love it. Really great track.
That's a great compilation too, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, this is one I've had for pretty much all my life. My parents have always had this CD. Really great compilation.
Yep. Awesome, man. All right, Andy.
I got a lot of their albums. The only one that I'm missing by CCR is Mardi Gras. For obvious
Not a great
reasons.
album.
I never picked it up. Not a good album at all. But I still kind of
there's like one good song on that album.
I know, but I kind of do want it because it just to finish off my collection.
It'll complete the collection, man.
Yeah, it really will.
The best thing I can say about that album is the album cover is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, the album cover is awesome, and I've heard it, and it's not good at all. Not good at all. I mean, how can
Sweet Hitchhiker is probably the best song on that album,
and that's by John.
It's not, and that's not even one of the better John Fogerty songs.
Yeah, exactly. My number 9 is a song that I've always loved ever since the first time I heard it. It's off of my really, really my favorite Phil Collins album called "But Seriously," and that's called "I Wish It Would Rain Down," with Clapton on guitar, and it's a really good. It's just a passionate song that Phil Collins sings with his really trademark passionate balladeering vocals, and it's a beautifully written song. So "I Wish I Would Rain Down" by Phil Collins off of "But Seriously." I think it's back from '89. I think.
89.
89. Yep. I got that on cassette and vinyl. So
that album has got one of my favorite Phil songs. It opens up the album. Now I can't think of it. I'm having a brain for it.
Is it Something Happened on the Way to Heaven?
No, was that the opening of that album?
It was.
Is it?
Oh no, then it was now I can't
talking about Another Day in Paradise.
That's the one, man. I love that song, man.
Yeah.
Another Day in Paradise.
It was a more mature album for him, I think, after some of the stuff he did earlier in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of kind of like social conscious lyrics and things like that, man. He, it wasn't Susudio. That's for
No.
sure.
And I mean,
Right.
you kind of hear it preceded what kind of route Genesis would take on We Can't Dance, other than the
Yeah.
title track, of course.
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
stuff like No Son of Mine would fit perfectly
Yeah.
on But Seriously, and like other tracks, Fading Lights, that stuff like that would fit perfectly on But Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he always had his face all over the covers.
Yeah.
He was all like, it's like, hold on, Phil. Hold on, Charlie Brown.
And
Mhm.
now, and you ever see those reissues he put out? Like it's his face
with
but older.
the older
Yeah,
version,
with
yeah.
faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Well, the only one that's not like a close up of his face is Dance into the Light, because it's like him in like the dance pose or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which that's a great song. I never hear people talk about that song. That's a great song.
Yeah.
All right, man.
But yeah, I've always really loved that song, and it actually had like 4 big hits off that album.
Oh yeah, that was a big album, man.
Yeah, it was.
That was probably his biggest solo album, sales wise.
All right, man. So my number 9, I'm gonna go with Prince's Purple Rain, man. I'm going with that. I mean, it's my favorite era of Prince. I mean, not like mid 80s era. Like, I mean, Purple Rain. I mean, he came on my radar with 1999, but then Purple Rain. I mean, he just went to a whole other. He blew the hell up with the movie and the album and everything. And that last track on there, Purple Rain, which if you ever went on YouTube, it's actually there's the real long version, unedited, because that was actually performed live, and he kind of took it and edited it down. But like, there's a long ass version on. I don't know if it's. I remember seeing it on YouTube. I don't know. I'm sure you can find it on there. I know for a long time when Prince was alive, man, he scrubbed YouTube of like all his. You couldn't find like much content in his, because he took he had shit removed. He was very against having like his stuff out there. So
And streaming too. It took a while.
yeah, everything.
I
But
think it was after he passed
Yeah,
away. His
yeah.
family just.
when he passed
Yeah,
away,
his family,
like,
because now they realized, because now like
floodgates open,
they
man,
made
like,
they made a big
you know.
event about putting all of his music videos on YouTube and stuff, because they would do like every day they'd put a new one up. They'd do like a release, like a watch party. Each day would be a new music video getting posted and stuff.
yeah.
And then they try to sue Morris Day at the time
Yeah.
because they said that the idea of the name the time was from Prince, and that they.
Yeah.
But then they changed their mind. I'm pretty sure outcry from the public. Come on.
Yeah.
What
Yeah, he
more?
was-
Well, I mean, everybody kind of knew that was one of his bands that he just kind of
Yeah.
gave them the
Yeah,
music and
decide.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible guitar player. It's like I knew in 1999 in Little Red Corvette, then I heard Let's Go Crazy, and I'm like, dude, he's got himself a great lead guitar in his band. And I never knew he could play that good. He just was a freaking amazing guitar player, dude. I mean,
Yes.
he was.
Yeah,
man.
and the leads on the guitar on Purple Rain, man, itself, man, is just incredible, man. He just very, very emotional and like just shows how great of a player he is. So yeah, it's gonna be my number 9, Purple Rain by Prince.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that Super Bowl halftime show was unreal when he did that
the
song
best.
too, man.
pretty much
Yeah.
the best one, man.
I think
You
so
know.
too.
All right, man. Jerry at number 8.
My number 8 is a band that I'm pretty much a greatest hits fan of, and they have a lot of greatest hits, man. It's got one of the best sing-alongs ever. I like to hear some funky Dixieland. Come on, mama, take me by the hand. Blackwater by the Doobie Brothers, man. Love that song, dude.
Yeah, great
like I
song.
said, I'm a greatest hits fan with them, but like I said, they have plenty of greatest hits. So maybe one day I'll take a deep dive into them too. But I'm like so behind on these deep dives, man.
They're
still got
one that I'm planning on coming up.
I still got 2 from King's X to listen to. I love the first 3 albums so far, so that's cool.
Yeah.
And I think it was Joe. Was it you that got me in the Nazareth? I can't remember. I think it was you.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yep.
still deep diving into them. So yeah, I'll take a deep dive in the Doobies eventually. But anyway, that's my number 8, Blackwater.
Yeah, with Doobies, I'm
Nice.
like you. I'm more into the greatest hits.
Yeah.
big time. And I can't, I like both eras with Michael
Hmm.
and without, but we're gonna go see them. I think in June
Yeah.
that they're coming, and they're coming with Michael McDonald, and also what's his name is opening up. Steve Winwood's going to open up,
Oh
so
yeah.
that's gonna be a fun
Ooh,
show.
nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun. But
Awesome.
man, when they announced Yes and Deep Purple, dude, I could have, man.
Yeah.
So who's in this in new incarnation of Yes? I know it's Steve Howe. Who else is in
It's
it?
just Steve Howe.
That's it.
Billy
Howe.
Sherwood is in it.
He's in there. Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Oh,
Some
okay,
other
so-
newer guys.
John
Gotcha.
Davison still
I got-
singing for him.
Yeah, John Davison. Yeah, a guy. Yeah, John Davison. Basically, close your eyes and pretend like John Anderson's on stage.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I
one
know
of
they
those
released an
things.
album a couple years ago, and I didn't care for it very much. The song that I heard from.
Yeah,
it.
they just put out a
Well,
new
that
one
album
a
was
year or
not
two
good.
ago.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it.
Their
at all.
albums have not been good. Their albums have not been good since.
But I'm gonna write them.
God
and
knows
give them
when.
the playlist I want to hear. So
Yeah, I know, but I think Yes died when Chris Squire died. I mean, when Chris
Yeah.
Squire died, I think pretty much
Yeah.
Yes died. I think. So.
yeah, but I want to see Steve Howe play. I just want to see him play.
Yep.
And of course, Deep Purple always puts on a great show.
You never seen Yes, Andy?
No, I never saw any.
Dude, my very first concert, man, 9012
Yes.
Live, man. Holy shit, that was incredible, man.
I never saw anything.
Yeah.
So I never seen any of them.
I know
So,
John Anderson is touring as well,
Yeah,
or at least doing some shows. So I know he's doing a show up in New Jersey. So
I'm kind of hoping that down the road before my show that they, get back together and say, hey, let's do it for Andy. So
I mean, didn't they do something like John Anderson, Trevor Rabin,
It was
and
Anderson, Rabin, and Wakeman.
Rick
did it
Wakeman?
some-
Yeah, that
oh,
was
I
years
saw
ago.
that dude,
Yeah.
and that was incredible too, man.
Was it cool?
Oh yeah, I like.
Yeah, because they put out that
I actually
DVD.
Thought that was better than the current Yes.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It
can
was way-
bet the
Yeah, 'cause
farm
that was
it
even
pretty much is.
Because that was right after Chris Squire died, I think, that they were doing that.
Yeah.
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 All right, man. Who are we on here?
Me.
I think Joe.
I just want the
My
Doobie
number 8.
Brothers, so yeah.
Yeah. No, they're a band that I'm about to do a deep dive into because they're another one of those bands that have those like 5 classic albums sets.
Yeah.
All their albums are in those 5 classic album sets. So my number 8. Call it overrated, call it overindulgent, call it a sellout. You're never going to convince me that November Rain isn't a great song.
Great song, man.
It's an amazing song to me. I still, anytime I hear it on the radio, I'll crank it up. When I saw them play
No,
it
I
live,
agree,
it's still
man.
great.
Yeah.
Seeing Slash do that solo is still awesome.
The solo on that song is amazing. I'm not crazy about the song, but the solo is really good. So yeah.
But
It's one of the. I basically what I think is. I love this song. I hate Estranged. Like that is where it took too much for me. Like that is where this is overindulgent in a good way. Estranged is overindulgent in a bad way for me. But I think November Rain's a great track.
That's a classic, man.
Yeah.
That's
But that's the great thing about November Rain is the indulgence. I mean, that is the great thing. But
That's
also
kind-
like the Strange too. I like both songs a lot. I really like the way that they were kind of connected in a way. Because I love both albums of Use Illusion 1 and 2. But I prefer 2 over 1. I think 2 is a fantastic album. And a really good choice too. That's a good choice.
yeah, great pick, man.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, go ahead, man.
Yeah, my number 8 is going to be. I always try to find room for Neil Young in the Beatles somewhere, somehow. So number 8, Neil Young, "See the Sky About to Rain," which is off of "On the Beach," which is one of my favorite albums by them.
Good one.
By him. "See the Sky About to Rain," and it's really great that he's been coming out with these Neil Young archives because he has so many different versions of it. With a band, without a band, acoustically, on piano. So it's always been one of my favorites by him. So See the Sky About to Rain will be my number 8.
All right, cool, man. All right, number 8, I'm going to the eponymous 1987 album by Whitesnake and Crying in the Rain.
Yeah.
Which was redone,
Nice.
I think. It was an earlier Whitesnake song, one of the couple that were redone for that album with, of course, John Sykes kind of injecting his flavor into them. And this is the opening track on the album, I believe, right,
Yes.
Joe? Isn't it? Or is
It
it on the
is.
second side?
Yes, on certain. I think it's the opening track on one of the versions because there's different track listings.
It was a
I'm
UK, and
pretty
then,
sure-
like a US, right, or something.
Yeah, let me.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's the opening track.
What they
Okay.
call Whitesnake 87.
Yeah, Whitesnake
That's the opening
87. Yeah,
track. That's the opening track. And I think the other version might have been on Saints and Sinners, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's on the same album that Here I Go Again was on.
Okay.
yeah. So I remember, being younger and like being in high school, and the 1987 album was huge.
Uh-huh.
And come to find out later on that, a couple of songs were actually reworked songs. It was more like from the earlier Whitesnake bluesier era, and I was like, whoa, dude, but I never heard this version of it or whatever. But that 1987 album with Sykes on it is just such a fucking killer album, though,
It's
man.
great. I
Yeah.
love it.
Such a great album.
Yeah.
So
I mean-
that's gonna be my
Yeah,
number
you-
8, Whitesnake Crying in the Rain.
You were right, Al. The North American version opens with "Crying in the Rain." The
Okay.
UK version opens with "Still of the Night."
Oh, okay.
And that's one of those gateway albums as well. I consider them as a gateway album
Mhm.
because that album had like 4 or 5 hits, had
Yeah.
videos all over the place, made Tony Catan a household name
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's
it's fu-
Adrian. Was that Adrian Vandenberg doing the solo on "Here I Go Again"? On,
That's the only
Yes.
thing he plays on a Whitesnake
yeah,
album.
exactly. And it's an incredible
Mhm.
fucking solo too, man.
I
I
know.
remember I'll being in love with that solo. I'm like, Sykes rules. I found out it wasn't Sykes. I was like, oh, but still, Sykes was still great on
But
that.
still,
album.
Sykes did the
Yeah.
stuff on "Still of the Night" and this song,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's definitely, in my opinion, that's by far their best album. I think that's like the album that even people that don't like Whitesnake, they like. Oh, but I like that album.
Bad
Oh
Boys,
yeah, no, that was
Right.
that quote unquote that one album.
Yep.
Yeah,
So many freaking people. People started with Whitesnake and ended with Whitesnake there with that album. That was it. Like that's the one album that.
Yeah.
That's why it sold probably like 10 million copies or whatever. Whatever it sold. But
Right.
yeah, that was a huge album, man.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
with them, I worked my way back because I'd never heard of them until that Whitesnake '87 album came out with all the videos.
Yeah,
And then I was like, who are these old guys?
yeah. It took
Yeah, it was slow. The first song I heard from them was "Slow and Easy," man. I'm like, dude, these dudes fucking rock, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Really
what,
good
that,
band.
yeah, Slide It In was when they first came on the radar here in America, but then the 1987 album was just like,
Yeah,
forget it. They blew it open, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the right time for that album. It was the right time
Yeah.
with Hysteria and MTV and all that stuff. It was just perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, so that's my number 8. We're going number 7. Go ahead, Jerry.
yeah. I'm gonna go with a song from my favorite Fleetwood Mac album, which isn't Rumors. My favorite album is Tusk, and a very underrated Stevie song in Storms. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it. Just a beautifully sung,
Mhm.
slow song. I mean, her voice is just so hauntingly beautiful on it, which is pretty much a lot of her songs. I mean, she has such a I don't know, just
What do you call
Sexy-
it? Haunting?
haunting, sexy, amazing vocal that she has on this song. But like I said, she has it on just about every one of her songs. But this song, man, holy shit. I fall in love every time with Stevie again, every time I hear this song. And I love that album, Tusk, man. I think it's actually better than Rumors, man. It has my favorite Stevie song on it, which is Sarah, and my favorite Christine song, Over and Over. I mean, it's just got amazing songs. There's a couple duds on it, but for the most part, for a double album, man, it was solid all the way through. A lot of people think Fleetwood Mac, they think of Rumors. They don't give Tusk much of a
they do.
chance, but man, what a great album that is. So, yeah.
I love a lot of that album, but I think it's just a little too long.
Yeah, I agree. There's a couple of songs I could do without, but yeah, I mean, absolutely brilliant. I mean, song that is in Storm. So she does that under Celetor. I don't think she's ever really done that song with Fleetwood Mac. Maybe when Tusk came out, maybe I don't know, but I don't remember her ever doing that song live, which is a shame.
I'm gonna have to revisit this album because I haven't heard Tusk in a long time.
It's just weird because it starts out with Over and Over, which is like this again, like a hauntingly slow Christine McVie song, which is just beautiful again. I mean, it's such well produced by Lindsay, man, and
I got kicked off.
I think it was the most expensive album to make at that time, if I'm correct, right? Tusk by Fleetwood Mac. I picked Storms by Fleetwood Mac off Tusk, Al.
Yeah, I was hearing you say it, and then all of a sudden I got kicked off. So sorry about that.
No, it's all right. Yeah, we're just talking about. I like that album better than Rumors, and people think I'm nuts when I say that, but man, it's a great album. It really is. But anyway, that's my number 7.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Joe, number 7, man.
All right, so my number 7 is one that I guarantee is going to be on Jerry's list, probably even higher than this. And that is, if you're gonna make a list about songs with rain in the title, of course you have to include the Rain song.
No, I would never pick that one.
Never. One of the most beautiful Zeppelin songs, in my opinion. Another one that I would probably, the same word that you used for the Fleetwood Mac song, a very haunting song. Plant's vocals great. Page's guitar on this is really great. It's a classic Zeppelin song, and it's one that like you're never going to hear on the radio really, but if you know Zeppelin, you know this song.
Yeah,
and it's an amazing track, and I had to include it on the list.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that's the show. Have a great night. Take care.
I am.
All right, Andy, go ahead, man.
I went the Zeppelin route for my number 7 as well, but it's not the Rain song. I just want to use one song by band. I did not want to choose the same band twice, so I picked the song that I like more than the Rain song. That's "Fool in the Rain." I love that
great
song.
tune.
I love the storyline to it. I think Jimmy does a fantastic solo on there. Kind of a little bit off the rails there towards the end. The storyline that Robert Plant tells, it's like he's telling you a story, and it's great. You know, you got the drums by Bonham. It's just
the Purdy Shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got this great keyboard playing by JPJ, man. Just fabulous.
Yeah,
fabulous.
And you got the conga section.
Yeah.
Right.
A whistle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great track. So I've always loved "Fool in the Rain" ever since I was in high school. So that's what I went with.
All right,
"Fool
cool.
in the Rain" by number 8.
Yeah, great one, man. All right, man. Well, that's number 7 actually. So number 7, I'm going with now. The main title of the song doesn't have rain in it, but part 1 has raining in it. So I was all right with picking this one. So I'm going with Dream Theater, Trial of Tears. And the first part of the song is It's Raining. So this is off of the Falling into Infinity album, which gets a lot of like kind of division in the Dream Theater community. I personally love the album myself. Desmond Child kind of came in and helped with songwriting and whatever, but I still think it sounds like great. It sounds like Dream Theater. You know, the playing is great on there. The musicianship is top notch. They went for more, and I kind of miss it. Like, you know, on some of their albums, like they actually had songs on their albums here. Like they really went for like crafting a song. You know what I mean? Sometimes I love Dream Theater, but sometimes it gets a little overblown with the noodling and all that stuff. But I don't know.
I got kicked out again.
Well, we'll go back to him. Go ahead. Excuse me, Jerry. What's your number 7?
My number 7 is
6. I'm sorry.
six.
We just did number 7.
Number 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna do one of my favorite Bob Seger songs. My wife's favorite Bob Seger, excuse me. Fire Lake.
Ooh, nice.
You know, I am a huge Bob Seger fan. Dude. I can never get tired of his music, and that one is just. I love the story in that fucking song, dude. It's amazing, man. One guy that man, I wish I always procrastinated with some as I procrastinated with Tom Petty, procrastinated with Bob Seger. I'm like, oh, I'll see him next time around, man. And then there's no fucking next time. You know what I mean?
No.
And I regret not seeing Seger on his last. I was going to see him on his retirement, his last tour, man, but I don't know why I didn't. I'm just an idiot. But anyway, that's my next pick, Fire Lake by Bob Seger.
We should do that on the BS, like our make our own Bob Seger album. I think that'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
Fun. Yeah. He's such a good songwriter. He's fantastic. All right. Well, what do you got going on, Joe? What's your number 6?
Alrighty. So my number 6 is, in my opinion, one of the greatest B-sides of all time. And I mean, I don't even know if you can call it a B-side because it's just as probably well known as the other side of that single, and that is the Beatles' Rain. The B-side to Paperback Writer, and it's really getting right in that sweet spot for the Beatles, right when the Revolver, Rubber Soul era. Just some great songs coming out of them in that time, and this is one of my favorites. And I love the remix that they did on the Revolver box set of Rain. Made it sound even better. So yeah, my number 6 is the Beatles' Rain.
Yeah, that's such a great song. I'll probably be talking about that myself later on in the show, which I'm pretty sure I will. But I was trying to send out another link to see if it would be stronger, but it won't let me. I wonder if it's because we're in the middle of something. That won't let me send anything. Let me try one more time to get him back on. The last time he got on by himself. But yeah, that's
He should
really
be able to
great
use.
pick.
He should be able to use the same link you sent before. If you send a different link, it won't let you because it'll be sending. You'll probably be sending a different room.
Okay. All right. He's back. Hold on. I was just kind of hoping that I would be able to
Oh
give him a
Jesus, man! I
fresher
keep getting kicked off. I don't know why. Maybe I'm on location. It fucking hates me over here, so I don't know.
All right.
You
Were
guys
you
are-
through with talking about the song that you had picked before?
I was just it's just Trial of Tears. It's such a real quick. It's a great epic that ends the album. I love. It's one of my favorite Dream Theater songs actually, and I mean it's them showing their Rush and Yes and a bunch of influences on there, man. You can hear little bits and pieces of like their influences on that, and I love that track, man. So, the Trial of Tears, It's Raining, Dream Theater. That's my number 7. So go ahead, Jerry. If you'd have,
I did. Yeah, I did Fire Lake by Bob Seger.
What was it?
Joe, Fire Lake, Bob Seger.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Joe did the Beatles' Rain.
Joe, you did Rain.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So it's on you now, Andy.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It's on me. So
Yep.
we're on number 6, and my track for number 6 is going to be. Here's my list right here. Number 6 is hold on. Off the debut album by Eric Clapton, "Let It Rain." I really love that
great
track.
one.
It's a really good song that stretches out to 6 minutes, and he really shows his great guitar playing on there. I know that his solo stuff, it kind of turned a little poppy or a little pop rock, but that was by design. He was trying to get away from that Clapton is God kind of sound, and he went a whole different direction than what people thought that he was going to go. And he played so many different kinds of genres on that debut album. He did a fantastic job. And "Let It Rain" kicks off side 2 to that album. I really enjoy Eric Clapton's solo years as well, especially there in the 70s and even his early 80s stuff like Backless and Another Ticket. Those were some really good albums that aren't really talked about because he kind of lost his way in popularity, but he was still making solid music. But Eric Clapton off his debut album, Let It Ring.
Yeah, it's a great track, man. I love that song.
It's a good song. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so my number 6, I'm going to from up north in Canada. I'm going Triumph, Tears in the Rain. It's off the Sport of Kings album, which doesn't get a lot of love. I mean, they started getting a bit slick on that album, but that's a great song. I love that song on that album. And there's a couple of good tracks on that album, but like Tears in the Rain is one of the standout tracks, opening track on the album. And I love Triumph, and I just wanted to include that track. I think it's a great track, sung by Gil Moore, drummer. That's one of his song tracks. So Tears in the Rain by Triumph is my number 6. So we'll go to number 5, Jerry.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a Guitar Shop No-No song. This actually is included with Stairway to Heaven when you hear it, but I don't care. I love it. It's one of the first songs you ever learn as a guitar player. Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water, man. I mean, come on, dude. Say what you want about it. It's still a freaking classic tune, man. It really is. I mean, songs like that, I mean, Dream On by Aerosmith, stuff like that, you hear a million times, but you stick of them, but you got to still realize what great songs they really are. And that's one of them, dude. I mean, if you're every guitar player, I not every guitar, but the majority of them, that's one of the first 5 songs they probably learned on guitar. You know what I mean?
And usually everybody plays it wrong.
Exactly. Well, you play it single string. Some people play it with bar chords.
Bar
I mean,
chords.
it's just, they play it different ways. But hey, more power to you if it sounds right. Play it the way you want to, man.
Yep.
But it is a classic song. I mean, it's one of those songs that don't get much respect anymore, but it's still an awesome tune in my opinion. So, Smoke on the Water.
You gotta love any song that name checks Frank Zappa and the Mothers.
True.
You gotta love that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Joe.
All right, Joe. Go
Alrighty,
ahead, man.
so my number 5. A song written by one of my favorite songwriters of the 70s, sung by one of my favorite female vocalists of all time. Carpenters, Rainy Days and Mondays. Written by Paul Williams, sung by Karen Carpenter. Absolutely gorgeous song. Just Karen Carpenter's voice, just it's just angelic, and Richard's arrangements always just complement the song and her voice so amazingly, and just add so much. And it's one of my favorite Carpenters songs. So that's my number 5 is Rainy Days and Mondays by the Carpenters.
Yeah, Mark's having a heart attack right now when he heard that pick. But but yeah, she's a great drummer too, man. Incredible musician. So yeah, good pick. I like that pick.
But I love her voice, and especially that song. That's such a great song. And in fact, I was watching the movie, I think it was 1608 the other day, the one with John Cusack, that he's in this haunted hotel.
Yeah.
And he's trying to bunk it.
Yep.
And every time it comes back on, we've just only begun. God, it's so haunting.
Yep.
You're like, oh my God. And that little radio turns on and it's kind of staticky and we've only just begun. You're like, oh my God, that's so scary. But such a beautiful voice. Golly, such a beautiful voice. My number 5, I'm going to go the other way, Joe, with CCR. Have you ever seen The Ring? Which is by far one of my favorite tracks by CCR, and it's off of Cosmos Factory. Cosmos Factory is just, it's like a greatest hits album, but it's not. It's a proper album. And the last time I saw John Fogerty, he was playing, it all depends on what show you got. It was either you got all of Willie and the Po' Boy, or you got all of Cosmos Factory. We got Willie and the Po' Boys, which was fine. I didn't care which one we heard. So,
Andy, that song's not on Cosmos Factory. It's on Pendulum.
It's on Pendulum. You're right. Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Who Will Stop the Rain's on Cosmos Factory?
Okay, keep on going. But I'm pretty sure you're right. But
Yeah, who'll stop the rains on Cosmos Factory? Have you ever seen the rains on Pendulum?
Okay, well, the one on Pendulum is the one that I like better. So
Yeah.
we'll keep going.
Two amazing songs.
It's a good thing I'm not hosting today, right?
All right, man.
Right here.
So what is that one? Pendulum?
Pendulum.
Yeah, it's on Pendulum.
It's the last album with the 4-piece lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, have you ever seen the rain? You are right, Joseph. We should never question Joseph.
Yeah, I learned not to question Joseph.
Yeah.
Man. He's barely wrong. I'll get him one day, you know.
Shit, man. I was the one I used to get called the fact.
I hope you do. I love being stumped.
Yeah, but I used to serve my bullshit, and now I got these two here with me. So.
That's why I do these, man. I do them just to fucking soak in the knowledge, man. I really do, and I love it. So I love it.
It is off of Pendulum. All
right.
Al.
All right, man. My number 5, I'm going with Fire and Rain by James Taylor, but I particularly love the Badlands version of it.
Yeah. And
I love that song, man. Fire and Rain, man. I thought Badlands did a fantastic version of it, man. And it's off their second album, Voodoo Highway.
Voodoo Highway, yeah.
If you've never heard that version, man, pull that up. It rocks, but it's just I love Ray Gillen's take on it, man. Like
I agree.
James Taylor's version's awesome too. I love James Taylor, you know, and so it's gonna be my number 5, Fire and Rain by James Taylor / Badlands. I put both of them together. So that's my 5. Number 4, Jerry.
My number 4 is a song from the band that's on Joseph's shirt right now, from their album Cornerstone, "Boat on the River." It's got kick-ass freaking mandolin in it. Great keyboards. It's I wouldn't call it a ballad, would you? I'd call it maybe a slower paced rocker, maybe. But I love the flow of it and the way it's written and recorded. I love Tommy Shaw's voice. I mean, I think he's a great singer. Yeah, and the harmonies between him and Dennis on that song, the last part, are just freaking amazing. It's a shame some of these bands can't get along and play, man, because they're all better as a whole than apart. But yeah, it's a shame actually. But I love that song. It's one of my favorite Tommy Shaw songs off the great album Cornerstone. "Boat on the River" sticks.
Cool. All right, Joe. Number 4.
All right, my number 4. Hey, there's this guy named James Taylor who wrote this great song called "Fire and Rain." You might have heard of it. Why does it always happen to you and me, Al? Why does it always happen?
Hey, listen, man. Listen, great minds think alike.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That's I got to put it down to that. But no, "Fire and Rain." I mean,
it's just that my mind's greater because I'm older than you. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you always mention him first. To me, honestly, it's kind of a controversial statement. To me, James Taylor is what everybody else cracks Bob Dylan up to be. Like, to me, I think I resonate much more with James Taylor's songwriting than Bob Dylan's songwriting.
I'm the same way.
Like,
I'm not a big Dylan fan, never was.
James Taylor is kind of, I'm not a huge Dylan fan, but like, if you're gonna like a kind of singer songwriter that was really influential, that I really think is really, really, really great at what he does, to me, it's James Taylor. And this greatest hits album is one of my favorite greatest hits albums. I think it's a perfect album. And "Fire and Rain" is probably the first song I'd ever heard from James Taylor. And I think it's one of his best songs. I think it's extremely well written and he sounds great on it. I love the Badlands version, but I prefer the James Taylor version.
There you go, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, brother.
Hey, it's a great song. I'm glad I'm glad I'm not the only one that picked it.
All right, Andy, man, go ahead, brother.
Yeah, my number 4 is a song that was introduced by a friend of mine by the name of Joseph Staub. My number 4 is James Taylor, Fire and Rain.
Ah, never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
But I do disagree that Bob Dylan blows them away when it comes to songwriting. I mean, James Taylor doesn't even come close to Dylan, in my opinion. And I will talk about that later on, I
Okay.
think. So my number 4 is Fire and Rain by James Taylor. I love that song, but you're so right about that greatest hits. It is a very good greatest hits compilation. It's got everything that you can possibly think of. So I really do enjoy them. And go ahead, Al.
All right, man. My number 4, we're gonna heavy it up a little bit. You know, only on this show can you go from James Taylor to Slayer,
Yeah.
Yeah, the only show, really.
Raining Blood.
Yeah.
The final epic track on Rain in Blood.
Rain in Blood. Yeah.
You know, Raining Blood, man. I mean, it's just fucking that middle section. If that's not the greatest like mosh part, like, you know, where it gets people just slamming in a pit,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the dun 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 dun. I mean, if that doesn't bang your head, then you're dead. You know what I mean? So, I'm going Raining Blood, Slayer.
If you're not in a pit and if with a bunch of friends, a pit will start, you know,
Yeah.
with that part. I know what you're talking
Oh,
about. Yeah.
Oh my god, man! You could be in a car with like 3 of your other friends, and then the heads start bobbing, and
Yeah.
the car starts going up and down. You know?
For me, Raining Blood is the song like that scene in Wayne's World with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's Raining Blood for me.
yeah,
But a little angrier in the headbanging though.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. So yeah, man, Raining Blood, Slayer, number 4 for me.
Fucking the car next to you is looking at you like, what the fuck is going on there?
I
man?
know.
Yeah.
Your car just keeps jumping a little bit forward every time.
You're like looking at him and you go, yeah. You know, fucking yeah.
You know, I'm not the
Fucking
biggest
Slayer, man.
I'm not the biggest Slayer fan, but I've seen them a couple of times in festivals. And the first time I saw them, I tell you what, it fucking swept me away, man. I was like, oh my God. You just felt the electricity from the stage into the crowd, all around you. Even me being the first time seeing them and really hearing them, really because I was there, it really swept me up to say, oh my God, I understand why. You know, I understand why people love them so much.
Oh yeah, the power that comes off that stage, man, when they're on there, bro.
Yeah.
It's
And
just-
then the second time I saw them was in another festival, but this time I got up close for this one. The first one I was in the back. This
Yeah.
time I really rushed for it to really grasp it. It was, man, it really was an experience.
There was a few mosh pits I was afraid to get in, man. I mean, there was some fucking brutal mosh pits that I've been
It's
part of
brutal,
and I've
man.
seen, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and nobody fucking screams
Still
like
the
Tom
most
Araya, man. Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
Still
One of
the
the best
most,
fucking
the
metal
most brutal
screamers
wall
ever.
of death I've ever seen was when I went and saw Slayer. That's the most brutal wall
Yeah.
of death I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The whole pit just opened.
But even though they're touring again, it'll never be like that again. You know, just crowds have changed, concerts have changed. You'll never have that alchemic feel to it where you feel danger and violence and excitement all at the same time. Why am I
well,
not alive?
well, all the Slayer fans now they get their bones broke if they go into mosh pit. So
Yeah, you know,
you know what I mean?
it's
Um,
just not the same.
Yeah,
you
I agree. Yeah.
I agree too, man.
know? Yeah, you just won't get that feel again, and that's sad.
Yeah.
But we were able to experience it several times, so that's cool.
Yeah, no mosh pits in the Taylor Swift concert, man. So
Nah.
All right, man. Number 3, Jerry.
my number 3 is my favorite song from my favorite Dio Black Sabbath album, Children of the Sea.
Ooh.
I mean, again, fuck, man, what a great album that was. I forget, did we do Heaven and Hell on the show? Was it your
Yeah.
show or
Yes.
against something else before?
Yeah,
Yeah,
was,
I mean-
it was against Blizzard of Oz.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
That was a fun one too. That was a fun show.
again, before that was an album I haven't listened to in years, but when I did, I just fell back in love with it, dude, man. It's one of my favorite. It's not my favorite. I think Sabbath Bloody Sabbath's my favorite. Well, I know I get laughed at for that one too, being my favorite, but I don't care.
No, that's my favorite.
Really?
Sabbath
Is
album
it?
as well.
Okay, cool.
That goes back and forth for me as either my favorite or my second favorite.
Oh, cool. Yeah, wow. I've been talking to the wrong people. But yeah, Children of the Sea, Children of the Sea, Heaven and Hell, man. I love that song.
That's a
Oh,
really
man.
good song.
I believe that's like the first song they ever wrote together too. Was Children of
Yeah.
the Sea, man. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
I love that song, man. It's such a great song.
In fact, I heard that album today at work today.
Yeah.
I streamed on Heaven and Hell.
That's definitely my favorite Dio Sabbath song is Children of the Sea. Amazing
mine too.
track.
I mean, it's more mainstream, I guess. I don't know if you'd call it a mainstream metal song, but it's
Right.
a radio friendly song at least. Yeah, but it's still a kick ass song in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's a great song, but I prefer the title track to that album.
Yeah.
I just think that the Heaven and Hell album track, just,
Oh my gosh, it's just
Gotcha.
so epic.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of burned out on the title track though. I've never gotten burned out on Children of the Sea.
Okay, you see, but I'm just starting to get into Heaven and Hell, that album, because I always dismissed it.
Okay.
So I'm just starting to get into it.
Yeah, Andy's a latecomer to the Dio Sabbath stuff.
Yeah.
So, all right, Joe, man. So we're number 3.
Yep. Alrighty. So you know a song is good when Paul Stanley has to directly rip it off. And of course,
Read My
I'm
Body?
talking
What?
about no. The absolutely amazing Rain When I Die by Alice in Chains
Ooh.
from the Dirt.
Oh, I
album.
gotcha. Yeah.
Lane Staley's vocals on this song. Holy shit, man. I mean, talk about
Incredible.
hearing pain in somebody's voice. Like,
Yeah.
this song, one of his best vocals, in my opinion. I mean, just the way he sings the word rain, it's just one of my favorite Alice in Chains songs. Just one of the million reasons why this band is probably one of my favorite bands to come out of the 90s. Just absolutely incredible track. This album, this entire album is
Oh yeah.
flawless.
Amazing.
But Rain When I Die is one of my absolute favorite Alice in Chains songs.
That's
It's
got to be
funny
one
when
of the best albums of the '90s. It just
Mhm.
puts you in a. It makes you feel that out. That album makes you feel. It does. It's just everything. The chords, just everything. It's an amazing album.
I started laughing when Joe was starting to say about Paul Stanley, and I was like,
Yeah,
"He's
that's what I
gonna
was
take
thinking.
Rain from Carnival of Souls."
Oh, I thought he was thinking Tears Are Falling, because I guess that's technically
No.
one. That's what I thought. Yeah.
No, but I mean, he
But,
directly ripped off Rain from Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah,
100%.
that song's a complete rip of that song. Yeah, definitely, man.
Mhm. And I think
do
the
like-
Kiss version's a good song, but it's nowhere near as good as Alice in
No.
Chains.
Nah, man. That Dirt album is fucking. That was like the soundtrack of my '92 summer of
Mhm.
'92. Man, I was like, "Wow, man, it's crazy."
Yeah.
But like,
All right,
it's
Andy.
crazy. You listen to all these albums that came out at the same time. You listen to Dirt, and you listen to Bad Motor Finger, you listen to Nevermind, you listen to 10. All those albums that came out within like a year of each other, and people put these bands in the same genre. They sound nothing alike.
No, nothing.
It's not really a genre, it's a time, basically, is what it should be.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
Like
a
hair metal
clothing
bands,
brand, is what it is. It's
Yeah,
a clothing
exactly.
brand. Grunge is a clothing brand.
Well,
hey
they
man,
came out
I
of the-
wore my flannels whenever it come when that.
They came out of the
the-
same city, man. It was Seattle. It was
Yeah.
just, you know.
It's so crazy that they came out at the same time, the same city, and they're completely different bands. It's
They
just so
sound
amazing.
nothing alike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because Dirt sounds nothing like those albums. Bad Motor Figure sounds nothing like those albums. Nevermind and 10 are completely opposite. But they group them all together, and it's hard, and it's kind of hard to choose your favorites out of them because they're all different. it all depends on what you feel like that day. It really is. My number three, really good pick, and that's such a great album. There's so many songs that we're talking about right now that there's albums that I need to listen to that I haven't heard in a while, like Cornerstone, Tusk, Dirt. My number three's got a little story to it. Back in 2003, um, I met Molly, who became my wife, and we met online. And she's from Louisiana, and I went to go meet her in Lake Charles, Louisiana, because I was on my way to New Orleans. But I was so enthralled in this song during that time. And there's a line in the song that says that I may never be the same by the time I reach Baton Rouge. And my life was never the same again after I met her. I'm talking about the song that ends Damn the Torpedoes, Louisiana Rain by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Such a great track. And it was such a strong song for me during that time in my life. And it's such a great album track. And I had to include it on this list. If y'all aren't too familiar with that song, it's just great. So Louisiana,
Great album.
Great
The whole album. There's not a filler song on that album. The whole album.
Oh no, that it's flawless. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's an album that you don't get tired of. You're like, oh, I'm kind of burnt out of the album. No, you're not. It's a perfect album, and it was the perfect time for it. So that's my number three. Go for it, Al.
Yeah, my number three, man, I'm going with Beatles, Rain. I think Joe picked it earlier. Incredible Paul McCartney bass line in that. I mean, it's like one of his greatest achievements, like as a bass player. I love that bass, how that bass drives that song, man. And love the song overall. And it's the Beatles, dude. So, what else can I say, man? It's Beatles number three, Rain. I won't get long-winded on that one. I'll go to Jerry, number two.
All right, number two. We've done four already, but now we're steady, and then they went 1, 2, 3. Bam, 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 bam. The Ocean, Led Zeppelin, man. What a credible song. Actually, it's a cool song when you're the singer of the song and you sample it on one of your solo songs. So it's got to be a fucking good song, then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
so good you use it twice.
Exactly.
I mean,
one? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love House of the Holy. It's probably my second favorite Zeppelin album behind Physical Graffiti. A lot of people diss on the crunge, but I love the fucking crunge. I don't care what anybody says. But the Ocean, man, I love the riff, man. I love the drumming in it. It's fucking just heavy as fuck. Classic tune, man. Love it. That's my number two.
Oh, that House of the Holy is one of my favorite albums by Zeppelin. So it's a perfect album. It's kind of short, but man, it packs a punch though. It really does. Love it.
All right, man. Number two, Joe.
All right. Well, Andy, I agree with you. I also prefer Fool in the Rain to the Rain song. I included the Rain song lower on my list. I included Fool in the Rain higher on my list. Fool in the Rain has always been one of my absolute favorite Led Zeppelin songs. Just the kind of the feel of it. Plant's vocals are amazing on this track, and Bonzo's drumming, doing that Purdy shuffle. Two of my all-time favorite songs feature that shuffle. Fool in the Rain and Rosanna. Two of my all-time favorite songs. And it's such a cool track, and it's so different. And that's what I love about this album. I've never understood people's hate for this album. And I get it. Like, if you were a Zeppelin fan in the early 70s, when you're like, oh, here's the first album, and then 2 and 3 and 4, and then you get Houses of the Holy and Physical Graffiti, and then Code is a little bit of a, I'm not Code, Presence is a little bit of a step down, and then they get this, and everyone's like, what? But I just coming at it from like a later fan and just listening to this album, I love this album.
Oh yeah, me too.
Who are these imbeciles? Give me their names. Give me their addresses. I don't like that album.
Yeah,
I love that album as well, man. I
love that album. I mean, to me, Zeppelin only have one bad song in my opinion. That's Caras Alhambra. I even
See,
like
I
Hot
love that
Dog.
song.
See, I
man.
love that track. I love that track.
It's fantastic.
I mean,
I love
other
that
than that,
track.
there's not a single Zeppelin song that I don't like besides that one, man. I don't know why I don't like it. I never did. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that song, man.
But no, I like every track on this album. I really do. Even
Yeah.
Hot Dog. I love Hot Dog. I love every track on this album. I think Zeppelin has one of those discographies that I love every track on this album, and it probably still wouldn't be in my top 4 or 5 Led Zeppelin albums.
Yeah, dude, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
you could
that's
just-
not in my top 5 either.
I mean, with that album, you could kind of hear where Zeppelin was heading to into the '80s, man. I think Robert, with Robert's first like a couple solo albums, like I can think he kind of ran with that sound. He was kind of you kind of heard like with Pictures at 11, kind of.
Mhm.
It sounds like it would have been a nice logical step after, Into the Outdoor, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
He kind of was going in that direction. So, I mean, I love that album. That's a great album, man.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Number 2, Andy.
Yeah, my number 2. It's already been talked about by 2 of us on here. Beatles with Rain. It is a fantastic. It's so true. I'm going to talk a little bit about what was not mentioned. It is one of the first steps into the psychedelic period, which was a B-side, which Joseph said. But man, Ringo is awesome on that track. His drums are amazing on there, and the singing by John on there, with help from tape and production and loops and things that were being introduced into pop music. And from that one track, that's about a little over 2 minutes, and so much is happening on that song. And it was relegated to a B-side, which is kind of fucked up, because Paul and them always put John's songs on B-sides when a lot of the times they were stronger than the A-sides, in my opinion. But I'm pretty sure that John felt slighted by that, and that happened in the later years. How they put Revolution on a B-side, and that's one of their best, harder, heavier hitting songs, and they're relegated to a B-side. They always gave Paul the A-sides, which well, not always, but you know what I mean. It was very, very noticeable what was happening there in the later years.
All right. So my number 2, and the roles got a bit reversed here because Joe mentioned it already, but I got to go Alice in Chains, Rain When I Die, man. I mean, that Dirt album, just fantastic. And that song, I agree with you, Joe, man. I think it's one of Lane's best vocal performances ever, man. I mean, he sings, he's just so powerful on that song, man. Just incredible. And I'm so fortunate, like I got to see Alice in Chains with Lane live, but it was it wasn't for the Dirt tour though. It was for the Facelift tour when they opened for Van Halen. So that's the only time I got to see the original band. And even Mike Starr was still in the band as well before Mike Inez even came in on bass. So I was fortunate enough to see that lineup, which was cool. But Dirt ruled my life, man. In '92, man, that album was just, it was constantly in my CD player, man. It was just one of those albums that for me, Alice in Chains was my favorite out of the big 4 of Seattle. That was always, they were always my favorite one out of the 4. I loved all 4 bands, but Alice in Chains was the one I gravitated more towards, And really, man, when you think about Alice in Chains, man, they were really the first band out of the big 4 to really kind of hit first with Man in the Box. I predated Nevermind by like a year.
Yeah, I remember.
So really, like they kind of had the head start, like on everybody, because really Soundgarden hadn't really hit yet either. They were just starting to get there as well. So, but my number 2, man, Rain When I Die, man, I love that song. So now we're gonna go to number 1.
Well, I'm sure you all know what my number 1 is.
Yeah.
My second favorite song by Led Zeppelin, behind 10 Years Gone, is the Rain song, of course. I mean, Joe mentioned it, what a beautiful, arrangement that song is. To me, it's a perfect song. I mean, it really, truly is a perfect tune the way it was written. Everything with the cool mellotron in the middle of it, it's just, and you hear a little piano underneath that. It's just such a beautiful, heart-telling song, man. It is definitely got to be my number one song when we're talking about rain or water or anything. So the Rain song from Zeppelin off the great Houses of the Holy album, man. Great album.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's great. And Scribble chimed in with Raining Blood by Slayer, which we had mentioned earlier. But yeah, great pick, Scribble. All right, Joe, what's your number one, buddy?
One of my favorite guitar solos of all time. It's been mentioned before. The amazing Purple Rain. It's one of my absolute favorite Prince songs. Beautiful, beautiful track. Prince's vocals are great on it. The lyrics are just killer. And then, of course, that guitar solo that just comes in and just goes on for minutes and just absolutely killer. And it's like, what, an 8-minute song that I wish was longer. And right. I've listened to the version you were talking about, Al, the longer version, the original version, and it's just such an amazing song, and it's such a beautiful, emotional track.
How long is that original version? Like 15 minutes or something, at least.
Long.
Yeah.
Long. Yeah.
Wow,
but closes an absolutely killer album with a amazing track. So that's my number one. Prince, Purple Rain.
I've always wondered if he has anything in the fucking bank in this, in the vault somewhere. He's got to, because the guy was always writing and recording.
Oh my god, huge! They've released a couple of albums since he died of like songs that no one ever heard before. It's like
really,
it's kind of like a Frank Zappa kind of situation. Yeah, there was one Piano and a Microphone, I believe, was one that was released.
Okay, I didn't know about that.
And then there was one like something America or something like that. But they've had a couple that they put out since he died. Like they finally put out his original version of Nothing Compares to You. That eventually would be made famous by Sinead O'Connor. That's on one of those albums. But it's like, I know the Piano and a Microphone one is like, it's just like all stripped back. It's just him at a piano playing all the songs.
That'd be awesome. I gotta check that out. I never knew those existed.
Yeah, cool. They put out a couple albums after he died, and of course they've been putting out a bunch of big box sets.
Yeah, they haven't even.
They did, especially they did
surface yet of what there's so much stuff.
It's definitely like a Zappa situation where he recorded like everything.
I think
where Prince did the same thing.
I think somebody said once that there's enough material in his vault that he can release an album a year for 100 years.
No shit! Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite things that they've put out was they did like a super deluxe box of Sign of the Times, and finally put out, because I mean, if you know anything about like the lore of Prince and all the albums that he was gonna put out and then didn't put out, and then like repackaged it into something different, and between Parade and Sign of the Times, there was like 4 other albums that were going to come out, and like right before they were released, he completely scrapped it, used a couple of the songs from that and started a different album, and then scrapped that and started a different album, and then did Sign of the Times. And so when they put out the Sign of the Times deluxe box set, they included all that stuff that had never been released before, all these songs that like everyone knew the titles of because like they had seen the work tapes, or they had seen like an acetate of like what the track listing was supposed to be. So they like, oh, we know that this is supposed to be like these like mythical long lost songs that no one had ever heard before, and they finally put a bunch of these tracks out. And so they've been doing a bunch of different, like they did a big Purple Rain box set, they did a huge 1999 box set, and then the Sign of the Times one was just huge. It's like 5 or 6 CDs and like all this different like demos and like fully completed tracks that had just never been released before, and then live stuff. And then I know like the Myth of the Black album and all that stuff. Prince is just such a fascinating character with all the different things that he was working on and never released. And like you said, I mean, there's enough music in the Paisley Park vault that they could release a double album a year for the next 20 years and never repeat a song.
Yeah, because I don't think he ever fucking relaxed. He was always writing, as far as
No.
I hear, man, and recording, man.
It
So,
was he was right up there with Zappa of like the most prolific, like literally like every minute of every day they're writing and recording and touring and playing and all these, just like Zappa, with never settled on a lineup of a band, always pulling different bands, whether it's the Revolution or the New Power Generation or all these different bands he's pulling. And he had the late 90s when he did the rave albums and had like the funk band that came out in the pimp suits and all that stuff. And like he always had different bands and different lineups with him, and he was so just a genius with all this different music that he could be doing 10 different projects at the same time that are in 10 different styles. And that's what you see with like you'll get a Morris Day in the Time album, and you'll get an Apollonia album, and you'll get a Vanity album, and you'll get the Family and the Madhouse Project, which I think is fascinating, like this instrumental jazz music that he was doing all at the same time that he's putting out like his mainline albums. And you get like 20 different albums, and they're all credited to like different artists and pseudonames and all this different stuff, and it's just really fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool, man. I didn't know that. Thank you for letting me
I didn't know that about him either. I mean, talk about doing a deep dive. I mean, shit, I'll be there forever trying to figure out what's what. But
there's
I've
like
never really sat down and got into Prince. I just never have. But it sounds like he's somebody that I should try. Wow.
All right, man.
All right, my number one is a acoustic solo song. It's off his second album, and it goes into 7 different verses of different views of society and what they've seen and what they've heard. I'm talking about Bob Dylan, A Hard Rain Is Gonna Fall, off of his second album, Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. Such a great song where he goes from verse to verse, talking about different things of society that his blue-eyed son or his darling young one might have seen or heard throughout their day. And it's just a great track, which is my number one rain song. A Hard Rain Is Gonna Fall. It's just lyrical poetry from Bob Dylan. So that's my number one.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I just never could get into his voice. That was my biggest problem with Dylan, man. I don't know. But
man, his voice, after you get used to it, it's a warm sound to me. It really is.
Yeah.
A warm sound.
All right, man. Well, my number one, I'm following in Jerry's footsteps here. The Rain song by Zeppelin, man. I got to go with that, dude. I mean, Page's arrangements on that, his tunings and his guitar on that, it's like classic Page, man. I mean, just such a beautiful song, dude, and the Mellotron and everything mixed in, man. It's unbelievable, man. It's like one of my favorite Zeppelin songs ever. And I remember, again, like, my older brother taking me to see Song Remains the Same and seeing that, played live and on the big screen and everything. It's fucking, it left an impression on me, man. So I always love that song. So that's my number one. The mighty Led Zeppelin with the Rain song.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's like when you first mentioned this subject, that was the first. I mean, that was automatically number one.
That popped right in my. That was like the first song that popped in my head, man.
Yeah.
So when I was like, even thinking of this like topic, I'm like, I'm like, Zeppelin's gonna probably be number one, man. So, so we're gonna name off some honorables. If you've got 5. If you got less, if you got a little more, a couple more, it doesn't matter, man. You can just name them off if you want. So Jerry, man, go ahead, man. If you want to name off a couple of.
Yeah, I got Raining Blood, Slayer. I got 7 Seas of Rye by Queen.
Cool.
Full in the Rain by Zeppelin, Riders on the Storm, The Doors,
Yeah.
Riding the Storm Out, REO, Walk on the Ocean by Toad the Wet Sprocket. Man, what a great song that is. Another band I get laughed at for liking, but I think they're pretty cool.
That's a cool song. Yeah.
The River by Springsteen, The Nile Song by Pink Floyd, and Where the River Flows by Collective Soul. Which, by the way, Al, thank you for getting that album for me when you get it.
Yeah, this Saturday, man. I'll
Yeah.
pick it up for you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
But yeah, those are mine.
Cool.
Joe.
Alrighty. So mine, I had Here Comes the Rain Again by the Eurythmics. I had Another Rainy
Alright.
Night by Queensryche. I had Red Rain by Peter Gabriel.
Oh, man, I forgot that. I love that song.
That's a great one, man.
Handful of Rain by Savatage. Have You Ever Seen the Rain by CCR? And my last pick, feel free. This is my. I give everyone permission to laugh at me. After the Rain by Nelson.
That's one of the only songs I like by them, so that's a good song. I like it.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Nah, man. There's nothing wrong.
I like that one, and I like Love and Affection. Those are the two Nelson songs I like.
There you go.
I tell you what, I saw those guys. There was just those two. They opened up for Frampton and Styx about, I don't know, it was in California. And they were pretty awesome. Just those two and acoustic guitars, man, doing live. So I gave him props for that, man.
I've seen them live. They were really good.
But yeah.
I saw them live too. They were really good.
Hey, listen, man. They're not that bad, man. If George Lynch includes them on his solo album, on one of his songs. So,
yeah,
pretty cool.
I miss that time period in life, man. I don't care. I would do anything to go back for a couple weeks in the late '80s, early '90s, man. I had a great fucking time, dude.
Oh yeah,
dude.
time.
I mean, I'm not a Poison fan or anything, but the time period they came out, exactly, man. I would love to turn on MTV and see that type of music back on it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was just so cool.
Yeah,
man.
every once in a while I'll go on YouTube and they've got, somebody will post like MTV's top 20 countdown. I remember those on Saturdays.
Yep.
yeah.
So that's always fun to watch too.
It's always nostalgic, man. It's always cool.
Exactly.
It always makes me feel good and think of friends at that time and my mom's house and the neighborhood and all that.
I've been seeing on MTV, not MTV, but on YouTube lately, the year in reviews by MTV, where at the end of the year, and I've been like watching a couple of those, and wow, man, it just like brings back memories, man.
Yep.
Oh yeah, those will come out on New Year's Eve, and I love watching them. I love watching them every year. I watched them. I thought they were so good.
Yeah.
I may not like bands like that, but I did love that time period, man. And like I said, I would love to revisit those times. So,
hey, man, I mean, Joe. I know Joe's a little younger than us, but like that's the time when, the three of us, Andy, Jerry, and myself. That's like the time of dude, we're just coming out of high school, becoming adults, and it's a great time. And it's supposed to be like one of the greatest periods in your life, dude.
Yep.
It was. You're kind of getting out there on your own and shit, and I long for those days too, man. Sometimes it's like, can I just go back to them, for like a little while at least?
Yeah, just for about a week or two, and then come back here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah.
So we need to get that time machine going.
I miss the girls with the big hair, those short mini skirts.
Oh my God,
man,
dude.
I mean, loved it, man.
It's just
awesome.
You didn't have a
period,
care in the world, man.
Yeah.
The internet wasn't in your face spewing all sorts of bullshit.
Right.
Sometimes, man. Sometimes listen, man. It's like ignorance is bliss. You don't hear about that all the time, and just you're living your life, man. And I think it's sometimes, man. We all need to go back to that once in a while, So.
Yeah, I would love for Poison and Nelson, those bands, to be on the top like they were back and then now.
Right.
So
yeah, those were some good days.
Yep.
I went a little bit more than 5. I'm gonna start off with this one. I almost put this on my top 10, but I had to drop it down. I don't know if y'all remember this song, and I was gonna send it to Joseph to freak him out a little bit, but The Rain by Orange Juice Jones. Remember that
Never
song?
heard of it. Never heard of
I
it.
saw you in heaven, walking in the rain. You were
Yes.
holding hands, and I.
Never heard
Oh
it.
yeah,
I
I know
remember
that
that
song.
song.
I know
It
that
was.
song, man.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a cool song. Smoky Mountain Rain by Ronnie Millsap. I like that one. Guns N' Roses with November Rain. The Rain King by the Counting Crows off of August and Everything After. Here Comes the Rain by the Eurythmics.
Oh wow.
A song by Garbage. I'm Only Happy When It Rains.
Good tune, man. I like that song.
Really
Yep.
good song.
Mhm.
Um, Rain on the Scarecrow by John Mellencamp.
That's a good song. Yep.
Crying in the Rain by White Snake. And that's about all that I got. I'm done.
Awesome.
But this was a great list.
Yes, it was.
I
was
made
fun.
a playlist out of it, and just great songs. And I really had a good time doing this.
All right, my couple honorable mentions from their last album that they put out last year, King's X. They have a song called "Let It Rain," which I thought was a really good song on that last album. Three Sides of One. A Canadian band called I Mother Earth from their debut album called Dig. A song called Rain Will Fall. Very funky, very reminiscent of if you like Jane's Addiction. I think you'd really like this band.
Dig.
No. I Mother Earth.
I was like, you got me. You got me into that album from Dig. That was a pretty good album.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
that was a good album.
But this band is called I Mother Earth, and their album is called Dig.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
Check that album out, man. If you've never heard it, man, it's great stuff. Max Webster, Rainchild. I always like Max Webster, another Canadian band. Fate's Warning, Now Comes the Rain, which was from their last album. I've been speaking of Fate's Warning. Their former drummer Mark Zonder, I've been in contact with him, and me and Andy are going to be doing an interview with him.
Cool.
Probably in the next couple of weeks. So
Nice.
Look out for that, man. He was really cool. He actually reached out to me. He's like, because I'm friends with him on Facebook, and I made a comment or something on one of his threads, and he laughed at it, and then all of a sudden he reached out to me in private message. He's like, "Hey, I'd love to come on your channel if you ever want to just bullshit, and I was like blown away. I'm like, you're freaking reaching out to me. I mean, Mark Zonder is like one of the fucking best drummers in like prog metal, bro. Like the stuff he played on Fate's Warning is like my favorite Fate's Warning albums. Pleasant Shade of Gray and stuff like that, man. I'm like, wow. So
you're probably like, oh, let me get back to you on that, okay?
Oh my god, dude. But I want to do. But I told him that I don't want to just do like just a typical like boring interview type shit. It's just more of like a hang. Like I want to do like a top 10 with him, make it fun for him. So I was thinking about doing like maybe like top 10 drum fills like in a song or something like that. Like I'm trying to brainstorm like something that he would be like into. You know what I mean? So I just want to be kind of fun for him. So yeah, look
we're
forward
very
to that.
excited about
So,
that.
I'll talk to you, Andy, about that. It's gonna be cool. Who else do I got on here? Oh, Depeche Mode. The Sun and the Rainfall. That's on their second album. I always like that song. It's really cool. It was still the synth pop era of kind of Depeche Mode, but I kind of like that stuff. Elvis Presley, Kentucky Rain. Always love that song. It's a great one. Uriah Heep has a song called Rain, which is really cool. And then Gary Moore, gonna Rain Today, which was in his blues period. Very bluesy song, very beautiful song by Gary Moore, actually. Liquid Tension Experiment, Acid Rain, which is an offshoot of Dream Theater. Acid Rain, which actually Dream Theater played in concert as well. Just an unbelievable like instrumental track. They just go crazy on there. And that's really it. I was gonna go Dio, Rainbow in the Dark. It's got rain in it, but I mean rainbows come after rain, so that's why I included it in the honorable. But that's really it, man. That's my honorables there. So thank you guys so much. for coming on.
Thank you, man. Really,
Yeah,
seriously.
thank you guys.
And I think Andy and myself, we already talked about what we were going to do next week. I think we're still going to do it. If anybody's a fan of April Wine, since we're still in April, we were going to do top 10 songs about from April Wine. It'll kind of make you, if you haven't heard too much of their catalog, make you dive into their catalog a little more. You know, I don't know if you guys want to do it or not, but we'll find some people. If anybody wants to volunteer, just reach out to me or Andy.
Yeah.
If they're fans of April Wine, we want to do a top 10 April Wine. So being that we're still in April, we're going to do that next Wednesday. So
Cool.
I look forward to that. They're a great underrated band from Canada as well. So they
Mhm.
have a lot of great songs, you know. And Miles Goodwin's death recently in the last couple of months, I've been listening to them a lot more, and they're a very, very underrated band actually. So
And they
Yeah.
are a band that I'm deep diving to as well, because I'm not that familiar, but it's really opened me up to their music more since since we're gonna do this top 10 that I really want to. Every time I'm getting something to do on a band I'm not that familiar with, I'm so excited because I really want to find out more about them.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I love doing that, man.
yeah,
So
So I'm excited about that.
They're a band that I need to listen to more. I have Nature of the Beast and I have Power Play on both on vinyl, but they're a band that I need to dig into some of their other albums too.
Get harder, faster. That's another great one.
I think I do have that one too. That's the one right? Is that right before Nature of the Beast?
Before Nature of the Beast, yes,
Yeah, with the car on the front cover.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that one too. Yep.
Yeah, it's that's probably my favorite album by them. But Nature of the Beast is great. Power Play is great. I mean, just go a little bit. I mean, they fucking date back to the early 70s, man. Like 70, 71 was when their first album came out. And again, they're kind of like, I mean, like you always, like when you hear about Oreo Speedwagon, you kind of think of their more commercial period, but when you go back into their 70s stuff, they fucking rock hard, man.
Yeah, they
You
do.
know? So this is kind of like the same kind of deal with April Wine. So yeah, check them out, man. You know, pull up a couple of their albums and start streaming them, you know. And if you want to like pick out 10 songs, man, get on the show. So that's what we're gonna do next week. So on behalf of Andy and myself, Jerry, Joe, thank you guys again for coming on. We always love having you on.
thank you.
That's really it, man. Andy, any final thoughts, man?
Yeah. Thank you guys for giving y'all's time and talent to this episode. And like Al was saying, next week, just to stay in the month of April, we are going to be doing top 10 songs by the band April Wine. And also tomorrow, I'll be on the BS sessions along with Joe and Jerry, of course. And we're going to be doing songs with the word time in it.
Time.
So we are
Good.
excited to be on that one as well. And please watch our previous episodes on the Black Spinner Circle podcast channel on Facebook, and these are also on Al's Facebook channel, Be Cool or Be Podcast Out. It's also on there as well. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Scribble and Mark Alden Taylor, for watching us. Also, if y'all want to keep hearing some music, go on to Mark Alden Taylor show. He's got a live radio show going on right now on that metal station. So check it out. And that's it. I'm done.
All right, guys, you all have a great night, and we'll see you next week, man.
Do you two talk shop afterwards, or because I need to talk to Andy about something? Is that cool? Or
Yeah, go ahead.
you two talk? Okay, all right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can. I will stay on, Jerry. That's cool.
It's about the Three Shots Down podcast.
All right. Oh
Okay.
yeah, and 3 shots down as well.
Yeah.
All right,
All right.
guys. Good night, y'all.
You guys
Take
have
care,
a good
everybody.
night, man. Take care.
Bye.
Take care.